Welcome back, ballers. Can somebody give me a thumbs up in the chat? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know. Thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Kobe. Kobe J, good to see you. Fairly new follower. It means a lot. Thank you so much. We are going to get started in just a moment. Welcome back, ballers, to another episode on the Ball Don't Lie channel. This one titled The Ball, the Heart, the Fist, and Love. All right. This one is another impromptu live stream. I had kind of an epiphany yesterday in light of the death of Hulk Hogan, as well as Ozzy Osbourne, as well as Theo Huxtable, right? Malcolm Warner, etc. Yvette, 2 thumbs up. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. This particular stream is going to be a lot more, I guess, personal for me, hopefully. Hopefully not personal for you to where, it sets off some buttons, but I have essentially hit a point where this year I've seen over 5 months now being on YouTube and me starting this particular channel mainly on the theme of love. It's almost overwhelming at this point, you guys. Maybe not almost. It probably already is. As I've said many times, I went to the University of Arizona, hence why I'm wearing the jersey tonight. And thank you guys all for joining. I really appreciate it. I know sometimes Friday nights are either a very busy day for folks, or it's a day where people like to, hermit themselves and relax. And I can respect either of those. But I've talked a lot about how the state of Arizona was founded on Valentine's Day. And I never knew that. Back in my days, at the University of Arizona. And as the news continues and continues and continues to drop from the world of sports and news and wrestling and politics and science and the books that I've written in the past, I dedicate this stream to hopefully give you guys a little bit more of a better understanding of where I come from and why my name is what it is on YouTube and Instagram, right? We all know about the deity Baal, and it doesn't have a very positive connotation, does it? Right? No, it doesn't. And I understand that. I always have. But my very first book was called Wordplay. And when I first started my Instagram page, I loved the wordplay of the phrase "ball don't lie." And I want to say it was my second or third video on YouTube where I gave more of a background about myself and what "ball don't lie" actually means. If anybody, I would expect most people really to be a baller head like me, a basketball fan through and through like me. If you are, you already get it. But if you're not, I will say again, the phrase "ball don't lie" is strictly in the essential. Well, you know what? I take this back. It is a common phrase in the world of sports where if there is a penalty or a foul or a strike that should have been a ball, in any sport, that phrase is very common where they say the ball don't lie. And that's always paying tribute to the gods of the ball, right? And if you guys stick around, you guys will see how crazy this is with what I've been going through this year, especially with me really leaning into love and the heart commonalities, the connections. Shout out to Adam, by the way, Adam the Illusion. If you guys didn't watch his live stream today, please make sure to do so. Please make sure to, like and subscribe to his videos. He did great work today, as he always does. And he does especially great work in the world of soccer, which is another ball, right? But this presentation is built to essentially share with you some more findings in line of not only what I presented yesterday with the death of Hulk Hogan, whose heart exploded, and then Ozzy 2 days prior, who was surrounded by love. I mean, I've been talking about this all year, you guys. And it's almost suffocating, if I'm being honest. And it's very surprising to me that there's not more people in the community that are latching onto this, besides a very select and profound few. Rambo, Cody, Shonda Sad, Adam the Illusion, etc. So I'm going to tell a story, which is one of the first things I said in my first video on YouTube, where I said, we are all living in a love story of some kind. Some are more, sunshine and rainbows. Others are a lot darker. But even the sunshine and rainbows love stories typically have a dark moment. And think about how you can't see a rainbow without rain, right? A rainbow only comes after rain. So I already got a thumbs up. I haven't seen anything in the chat telling me that you guys can't hear me, so it looks like we're good to go. I'm going to just do a couple shout outs. Coffee Girl, as always. Hey, y'all. Coffee Girl, tell me, are you in Texas? Because that's where I'm at. I'm a California boy, but I see myself starting to say y'all more often these days after 4 years being here. Dr. Savage, good to see you, my friend. No, it's just easier to text. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's all good. Well, always good to see you, Coffee Girl. Thank you so much. I always appreciate the love and the support. So before we dive into this, you guys, I need to make it very clear that I will never come off as if I have full understanding of everything. If there's anybody out there, any man on earth that's telling you they have every answer in the book about why are we here, what's my purpose, all that stuff, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. Okay? I've said that before. But what I'm here to present is to tell a little bit more of a story about what I've been experiencing and the reason why I have been leaning into this theme of love for as long as I have. And I didn't even see why. And the timing of everything, I mean, it's really profound. And I just wanted to share that experience with you guys because I thoroughly feel within my heart and within my gut that we all, as long as you lean in as much as you can into the knowledge of the occult, the hidden, what they're hiding from you, you are going to see what they call organic connections to your life and why you're here and why you're seeing those connections, why you were born at the time that you were, why things are happening at the time in the age that you are, right? Those kinds of things. So, without further ado, yeah, no, I'm just going to say, yeah, Dr. Savage, exactly. A team effort is the best effort. I've learned a ton this year, especially with this theme on love, about collaboration, about cooperation, not to be confused with just buying into the system, but cooperating with people. Just because you don't necessarily agree with every single thing that somebody says doesn't mean that you can't work with them and that you can't collaborate with them, right? And I think about the word cooperation, and it takes me back to what I've talked about a lot about my dog Cooper, Cooper DeJean, which I called in the Super Bowl to actually score a touchdown, and he had a pick six right before the halftime show. And I spend 99% of my day with my dog Cooper, and he just so happens to only eat beef hearts and duck hearts, right? And I've talked about how the Ducks played my Arizona Wildcats, founded on Valentine's Day. It's been a wild year, you guys. It's been a wild year. And I've been doing this for 5 years, going on 6 now. Most of my information has always been shared mainly on my Instagram and on Patreon. But now that I'm more in the YouTube space, it's been a challenge, it's been a challenge. I'm more scared of talking to myself than, talking to other people. That way I can feed off of people. And, I'm a Pisces, I'm very sensitive. So I really appreciate everybody in the chat, all of the engagements, the likes, the subscribes, the support. It's telling me that I'm doing something right. And of course, every once in a while, I will see somebody in the chat that's calling me a Freemason and I'm a deceiver and a clown, whatever. But that tells me that, people are paying attention, and I think that's just what kind of comes with putting yourself out there, right? So without further ado, shit, we're already 15 minutes in. I apologize. Church Mercury says, found you through Potato. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about with the collaboration and stuff. Love Donut, love Potato, love Paranoid American. Those guys are great. So thank you, Church Mercury, for joining. I really appreciate it. So hopefully by the end of this stream, you'll get a better understanding of where I'm coming from and my kind of realization about why I'm doing this at this time. And I'm just starting to realize it, even though I've been doing this on YouTube for the last 5 months or so. You know what I mean? Maggie, I was waiting for you. There you are. Good to see you, Maggie. You and I had a chat with Adam the Illusions live stream earlier today. It was great. Make sure to check it out. So we're going to dive in just 1 second. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I love to always see the love in the chats, you guys. Yeah, look, Kobe and Maggie. They know each other. That's awesome. That's what I love to see. I love it. So, all right, we're going to dive into it. So today's presentation is titled The Ball, like ball don't lie, the heart, which I've been talking about forever, the fist, and, as always, love. And to add on to my last live stream, the only live stream I did about Hulk Hogan, talking about his heart exploding, etc. The first thing I'm going to share is, I mentioned this on the bottom about Brooke Hogan. We talked about Brooke Hogan and her music career, short-lived. She had multiple songs talking about love. But today I caught this on Adam's live stream about Hulk Hogan's wife, Sky Daily, says, my heart is in pieces after his death at 71. Hearts equals 71. We touched on that on the last live stream. Make sure to check it out. But it makes me think further about pieces / Pisces. Pisces. That's interesting because I'm a Pisces. I've been very clear about that. I was born on the Ides of March. The stabbing of Julius Caesar, right? And what was this last Super Bowl? Where was it held? Caesar's Superdome. Shout out to Rambo for that one. He pointed that out to me. And that matters because I don't have a slide for it, but don't forget, you guys, about how there was a brother that stabbed a victim in the heart earlier this year in Dallas, which we're going to talk about. In Dallas, Texas, a twin brother dies, and the twin brother is holding him as he dies, as he got stabbed in the heart. Okay? And like I said, I'm a Pisces, okay? I'm fluid, and I'm very sensitive. I'm passionate about what I do, and that's why I sincerely appreciate all of the love and support. It's the fuel to my fire, if you will. So for those of you that might be new here or never got a chance to really dive further into all of the work I've done, I'll take a chance right now to plug myself. I'll just show you how many books I've written. Okay. This is my first book called Wordplay. All the rest are mini books. Okay. 9 other mini books. And if you guys wish to financially support me, I always appreciate it, but I never ask for it. You can find it on my Patreon channel. Or if you don't have the funds, that's totally fine. Just send me an email at wordplaybook with 3 O's in book, and I will email you as many of my books as you want. I don't do this particular line of work for money. But I bring it up because one of my first mini books I ever wrote was called Clay of the Earth. Right, so here's my physical copy in hand, Clay of the Earth. And on the screen is just a screenshot, essentially, of that title. But think about, man, there's so much to share. Before Clay signed with Dallas, we had the Cooper DeJean Pick Six. We had all of the Uncle Sam stuff going on. My wife's name is Sam, right? It goes way deeper than that. But think about the City of Brotherly Love, who won the Super Bowl. I bet on these love themes. And as the year goes on, Clay moves on to Dallas, right up the street from me. I live in Austin. Okay, it's not right up the street. It's about 3 hours. I've also talked about how the number 3 is related to the heart. Just notice if you put a greater than symbol here, you got the heart. That was what people used to text to people before emojis. You guys see that? The 3 is essentially the top of the heart, right? So I wrote this book, Clay of the Earth, years and years and years ago. Probably 3 or 4 now at this point. And sure enough, now he makes his way up to Dallas in Texas, the same state that I live. Interesting. And notice that I titled it Clay of the Earth, right? Clay of the Earth. And I've said a lot that how earth is an anagram of the word heart, isn't it? Move those letters around, you will then spell heart. So keep that in mind, and even just look at the colors. Look at that, you guys. Blue, white, and green. They're sponsored by Chime, which is a green color. That's why the City of Brotherly Love, the Eagles in the sky, fly Eagles fly. And Hulk Hogan's wife's name is Sky. Daily. Think about daily, like days and time. Talk about rituals, But look at that. Clay of the earth, earth equals heart, right? Now, I've explained this multiple times, but I have a lot of people that come after me because of my choice of my label, particularly with the word ball. And I understand where it comes from. That's why I chose the name, to be honest, because I lean into the play on words of the phrase ball don't lie. And if you guys aren't, basketball heads or football heads, whatever, it's going to be harder to understand. But quick recap, all it has to do with is in the world of basketball, if you're playing pickup or high school or elementary or NBA sports, it doesn't matter. If you get fouled wrongly and you go to the free throw line, which is kind of your judgment, if you make the free throw, then the basketball gods are telling you that it was a foul. But if you miss, then people on the court are going to say, ball don't lie. See, that wasn't a foul. The ball doesn't lie, right? So there's this interesting worship of the basketball gods, you know, not only just in the world of basketball. And I say that because look at this. Recently, I mean, over the last couple of years, notice that this phrase has kind of, I don't know, evolved a little bit in the sense that there are podcasts out there, there are memes, and it's not just basketball, but it's this whole competition of fans, these people that are worshiping the game, whether it's football, basketball, golf ball, tennis ball, doesn't matter. These communities are now essentially competing with each other about how much they know about the sport or the players. And it comes down to, do you know ball? Do you know ball? He doesn't know ball. Nah, he doesn't know ball. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. This image here is showing, there's a podcast here on the top left called You Know Ball. And then I'm just sharing some different memes. Clearly, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. You do not know ball. I mean, just look it up. You guys will see it. It's everywhere. And it's pretty much for any sport that involves a ball, And as I'm kind of more realizing, I'm just thinking like that this is kind of the theme of my channel. Like, do you truly know ball? Do you truly know what's going on in the world of sports and why everything is ball, essentially? I mean, the ball is the circle, right? Well, so is the hockey puck. The hockey puck isn't necessarily a ball, but anything else off the ice, what do they do in hockey? They play with a ball, don't they? You know what I mean? So that was the first thing I wanted to kind of clear the air on. But the reason why I get a lot of hate is because of, obviously, ball's connection to the deity Moloch, where, back in ancient times, children were sacrificed to Moloch. And to just read the definition here, ball, also spelled ball with 2 A's, while I spell ball with 3 L's, okay, to not get it misconstrued. Ball was a title and honorific meaning owner or lord in ancient Northwest Semitic languages. It was used to refer to various deities, most notably the storm and fertility god, Hadad, in the Levant region during antiquity. In the Hebrew Bible, Baal is portrayed as a rival to the Israelite god. Sorry if I mispronounced that, Yahweh, and is often associated with pagan worship and idolatry. Well, my whole page on YouTube and Instagram has been all about exposing the evil entities that are being worshipped in the games that people are paying attention to. And most of those sports involve a ball, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And not only that, notice here, if you just did a quick search, I mean, this is from the Torah.com, Moloch, the sacrifice of babies. Jeremiah excoriates the Judahites for sacrificing babies to Baal at the Tophet in a valley near Jerusalem. And when I started looking more into this, it really hit me, because if you guys go back and watch my last videos, I've done about 50, 55 videos, something like that at this point. I've also talked a lot about how my favorite Bible verse is Matthew 18:3. And it has everything to do with being as a child. Because if you don't humble yourself as a child, the Bible says Jesus will tell you, then I never knew you. I never knew you. And so these connections are things that I didn't even know at all until like yesterday. I knew about the deity Baal, and I was using it as a play on words, wordplay, and all that, but it had a much more deeper value in relation to the phrase "ball don't lie" that's used in the game of basketball. And I just pointed out that you don't know ball and ball don't lie. I mean, it actually does transcend beyond basketball. And this was the game that I grew up loving as a child. And I feel that most people are still caught into that. They are like locked into their worship of these people in these sports as a child, but they're walking around like they're adults and they know everything. And that's why I love this Bible verse, Matthew 18:3. Unless you humble yourself and you really see what the hell's going on, then I never knew you. Now, where it gets really interesting is when you guys just do a quick Google search of the deity Baal. Sorry, guys, hold on a second. So check this out, you guys. Baal was a prominent deity in ancient Middle Eastern mythology, particularly among the Canaanites. He was primarily known as a storm god associated with fertility, rain, and agriculture. Wow. Especially considering the fact that I currently live in Austin, Texas. I've been here for about 4 going on 5 years now. I was here to see the eclipse when the moon blocked the sun. I'm not joking, you guys. Everybody's house's lights came on automatically. That's how dark it got in that moment when it reached full totality. And Rambo and Cody and Sean and Adam, we've all been talking about how much the moon is related to water. And because the moon controls the tides, right? And then after that, just weeks ago, right? I'm sitting here in the middle of all of the storms and the flooding that have been going on. I mean, I understand it's been going on in other places now, but it really started in Texas, right? That's been kind of the biggest story when people are thinking about, flooding at this point. So my condolences to anybody else throughout the country, even throughout the world. I've seen stuff in China and Japan and all kinds of places where flooding continues. I'm just telling my story to show how crazy this is after 5 years of doing this, going on 6 and connecting with people like Rambo and Cody that are really showing me that it's not always about the numbers. The numbers will always be there, but it's the symbolism and how these symbols like coincide with all of us, you guys. I'm telling you my story, my alignments, because I wasn't even looking for them. I just eventually found them because I lean in. And I challenge each of you guys to do the same for yourselves. Think about the day you were born. Think about how many days were left in the year. What day in the year were you born? What's your zodiac sign? Right? What time were you born? What are you interested in? It doesn't have to be sports. But if you ask yourselves all those questions, then I feel that you would be able to come up with a very similar presentation and go, oh my God, this is crazy. Hello, Nikki from Ontario, Canada. I got some family up in Toronto, so I will shout them out as well. Let's see, totally agree. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy when you start looking. I was born on a full moon. There you go. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Maggie would agree that she never would have known that until she made the decision to actually start looking and researching. So good for you, Maggie. But notice this. Notice that ball has this fist symbolism. I mean, it's the first thing that pops up on Google. The whole fist thing. And it makes me think of a lot of things like, resist the system. I feel like that's essentially what I'm trying to do as well, is resist. I don't mean to be vulgar, but fuck the system, you guys. Right? I didn't name this page or my Instagram or whatever to worship the deity ball in the bad sense. I'm saying that it ties in so much deeper. But when you look at just the symbolism of this god ball, he always has a fist up. Well, who else has a fist up? All the time. Donald Trump. He's always doing he looks like he's jacking someone off essentially, but he's always doing the fist. You know what I mean? When he got shot in the ear, that bullshit. He's got the fist up in the air. See what I'm saying? But this is, I never thought about how powerful the symbol of the fist is. And this slide is just to show you, just in the world of sports, think about just like the emotion of like winning a game. You don't need to be a professional. You don't even need to be an athlete for that matter. Think about any time you've played a game or you've had some sort of competition and then you win. There's this emotional aspect where you go, yes, and you clench your fists. You know what I'm saying? But these are just a couple screenshots just to show like how often they do this. They clench their fist, whether it's basketball, tennis, golf, soccer, every sport, anything that's competitive. They're always clenching their fists like in victory, and then they're flexing their arm, kind of like Hulk Hogan flexing his arms with his fists. See what I'm saying? So I added some more here. Obviously the big one was the fists being raised in the Olympics back in the day. But I'm just showing more examples about how in essentially any sport, it could be the Olympics, it could be it doesn't matter. Track, football, basketball, baseball, tennis, soccer, golf, doesn't matter. You're going to see this fist pump all the time. And in a way, most people might be like, well, yeah, you win, you go, yeah, but my point is there's an emotional connection there. Even if you're not even thinking about it, you're so stoked, you just clench your fists. But what also happens when you clench your fists? It's almost like polarities. When you're super excited, you clench your fists, right? But if you're also very, very angry, you clench your fists. You're like ready to go to war kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, good point, Williams. This particular image here on the right, pointing out the Baphomet, the point up, the point down, the duality. I mean, it's the same image of the ball deity, right? So absolutely. And the Baphomet is all about duality, right? As above, so below. That's essentially what I'm talking about. The fist can equal a positive or a negative. The fist, victory, yes, I won, blah, blah, blah. But then it could also be, oh, I lost. Shit. Oh, I'm angry. I'm in the heel chakra, which is the red chakra, which is the devil chakra. Or I could be up and above. So I'm trying to point out how powerful the fist is just with emotion. And it doesn't even have to be sports related. I'm sure some of you out there don't even care at all about sports. But just think about a time in your life where you had a big victory in your life. And maybe, just maybe, you were like, oh, yes, yes. And you clench your fist just because you're happy and you're stoked and you're victorious. And then so goes the other way, where you got screwed over. You're upset, whatever. And then eventually you're like, oh, God, I'm so angry. It's the same pose. It's the same hand signal, right? That's kind of my main point. But good point, Williams. Yeah, because, the Baphomet is duality, period. Positive and negative, just like Freemasonry, just like most, if not all of these secret societies. And how they use these symbols to continue to project onto the world. So, as I was just talking about, why do you think there are stress balls, you guys? Stress balls. Think about that. I mean, shit, you could be happy and be like, oh man, I got so much happiness and emotion in me. I'm going to use a stress ball just to let it out. I think it's usually more used for the negative context. Like, I'm so stressed with my job, with my marriage, with my family, with whatever. I need a stress ball. So you squeeze the stress ball. Well, imagine if that stress ball went away. Well, what happens? It becomes a fist again, doesn't it? So I'm trying to really tie in this symbolism of the ball, not only in the deity of ball, but also the ball with his fist up, right? How much we see it in sports, but also how emotional sports can be to not only the athletes, but also the viewers. And it increases and lowers their stress up and down all the time. I mean, that's how they keep people captivated with this. I wonder how many people are holding stress balls as they're at one of these games, just, oh, come on, one more down, one more 3-pointer, whatever. It's an emotional driven thing. Yeah, Maggie, perfect point. Yeah, exactly. It's like a drug. I would argue it is a drug. It is a drug, just like politics. How many people are at their screens and destroyed their TV because of Donald Trump or Biden or whoever the hell, it's an emotional thing. But where I first found this work was through sports, because I never understood and saw how much emotion I put into these global level festivities. And once I did, I decided to go with the name Ball Don't Lie, because it fell very much in line with that evil side of the name Ball, but it also really pays tribute to how we're all being lied to through the ball that everybody's worshiping. You know what I'm saying? And time I'm going to explain myself about this. But I really truly feel, just based off of the comments in general, that you guys understand where I'm coming from. This is just adding another layer to it, where the symbology and better understanding how powerful this kind of stuff is. Emotion. I'm pretty sure everybody can attest and agree with me in saying that at some point you clenched your fists and you didn't even mean to do it. And it was either out of anger and spite, or it was like you're so happy you just clenched your fists and you wanted to like punch a wall even out of happiness. I don't know. You could run through a wall because that emotion really drives you. So keeping it moving here, I do only have about 15 more minutes, and now I'm scared with how many slides I have left. I'll go through it quick, but look at this. There's a lot of information out there, you guys, about how the average size of your heart is the size of your fist. Think about how you put your hand over your heart when you're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, or even if, like, once again, another celebratory thing, like if you're so happy, you grab your heart, right? You put your hand over your heart. Well, if you clench your fist, as they say, it's roughly the same size as your heart. Okay? And I've been talking about in my last video about how Hulk Hogan, he's named after the Incredible Hulk, who's green, right? And green is the heart chakra, and the Hulk Hogan dies from cardiac arrest. His heart exploded. Brother, the city of brotherly love. And Brooke Hogan has all these love songs, and she's saying about how much she is thankful to say, I love you to Hulk Hogan right before she dies. And then we touched on how his wife, Sky Daly, said, my heart is in pieces. Like, come on, man. So, but this image might look familiar to you, I guess, in the world of music. There's a reason why Green Day had the album American Idiot with the sole logo, Green Day, with a hand clenching a heart. You guys see that? You see what I'm saying? The heart is essentially the stress ball. You're clamping at the stress ball, kind of like how a heart is pumping. See that? And then if you clench your fist, it's the size of your heart. Yeah, Maggie, welcome to paradise. I loved Green Day growing up. I really did. That was back in the early 2000s. Shortly before, the American Idiot era. So I'll be the first to admit that. But once again, this is just another example of it doesn't just have to be sports, but also music. There's a reason why Green Day has this image of a hand holding a heart, clenching onto it. And most people won't understand that green is the heart chakra, right? So keeping it moving. I'll be the first to admit, I never put out a formal pick in the NBA Finals, at least on like any of my videos or on my Patreon. But I kind of low-key did give the hint to what was coming. And that was all about love. Once again, anybody who wanted insight or futures on what I've been talking about when it comes to the NBA, if you guys had leaned in and latched onto the whole love themes that I've been talking about, and I did even mention that the Thunder are sponsored by Love's, the gas station, that was your answer, But there was a lot of back and forth with a lot of things going on in the finals. But when you zoom out and you see how long I've been talking about this love theme, sure enough, here you go. Add this one to the list. You know what I mean? And once again, Baal is a prominent deity in ancient Middle Eastern mythology, particularly among the Canaanites, primarily known as a storm god. So the thunder wind with loves on their chest, right? And then shortly after, Kevin Durant, who started with the Thunder, who went to Austin, Texas, now ends up in Houston, who also had their own flooding stuff. You also have the flooding in Texas, right up the middle of the state, essentially, in Kerrville. And then you go, we've touched on this with Rambo and Cody many times. Go look up Camp Mystic. Well, what's their logo? A heart. A heart. See what I'm saying? So these hearts and these love themes are just everywhere. And nobody really cares to talk about it besides me for the most part. And you know what? I'm going to own it. It is a little frustrating, especially when I see other channels talk about like just other things when love is right in there. And it's like in there every single time, but they don't see it. They don't see it. And it's so obvious. This slide is pretty much showing. I was also talking about the Dallas Mavericks, Cooper Flag going to the Dallas Mavericks. I called Cooper DeJean to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, the city of brotherly love, Dallas, home of love field. And, my wife really loves this show. Really watching just kind of what it takes to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. But I've also done another live stream talking about this exact show where once they created the new stadium in Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders now started having an intro song for every home game called Thunderstruck. Right? I'm not going to relive that whole thing, but please make sure to go back and watch it. I think it was called ACDCC Thunderstruck, something like that. Make sure to go check that out because this show was essentially redone. It ran for a very long time, and then now they kind of redid it. And there's a big feminine theme there because in the latest episodes, now the women, the cheerleaders now are making a lot more money than they used to. So, hey, that's what I love to see for sure. But with everything that, Rambo's been talking about this year with time, how it's related to money and water and how it's related to the divine feminine, there's a lot of feminine connections going on this year as well when it's related to water. And that's been another big theme this year. Like I've said before, Dallas is home of Love Field. I also touched on how Jason Kidd, his birthday is the same day that Mia Love died this year, the same day that Caleb Love of Arizona defeated the Oregon Ducks. And my dog Cooper only eats duck hearts. And how Rambo told me how the duck is essentially... Well, you got, what's his name? Oh my God, Kendrick Lamar. His last name is Duckworth, shouting out certified lover boy in the Super Bowl, etc. This literally could be a book. I think it would be huge. So to kind of start wrapping this up, for those of you guys that don't know, I played basketball with Klay Thompson. In high school, this is a photo of our freshman year. I was number 3. He was number 4. That's the only reason why we had photos right next to each other. But I mean, talk about coming for full circle. It's just so bizarre. I mean, and that's part of the reason why I wrote the book that I did, Clay of the Earth, right? Because as soon as I started leaning more into the esoteric and like the occult and how they do these things on a global stage, and I'm sitting here watching Clay just break 3-point records and most points in a quarter and stuff. It was fun to watch for sure. But as soon as I started seeing more about why that was, it just blows my mind that I actually, he was in my graduating class. This is us as freshmen. We were both 14 years old. We were in the same math class. We were math buddies where we had to exchange numbers, and he was so quiet, like but besides the point, speaking of Clay really quick, look at this, you guys. And Love, this came out what, 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. There's a lot of stuff in the news now that Clay Thompson reveals how notice how they quote it, in love. Clay is now in love with Megan Thee Stallion. And he's upped his golf game, huh? Interesting. Isn't that kind of weird that a stallion is a horse just like a Maverick? This is all being, rolled out now that Clay is in Dallas. You know what I mean? Clay, the Maverick, is in love with the stallion. Also the Maverick, in Dallas, home of Dallas Love Field. And now he's playing for Jason Kidd. Okay. That goes back to the being as a child theme, right? Whose birthday is the same date that Mia Love died this year. Go look it up. I've done videos on it. Not to mention that Megan Thee Stallion was also on Love Island, USA. Right? I'm pretty sure Clay was not on this show. I'm pretty sure. Side story really quick. Ariana Maddox, the blonde one in this photo, I actually met her because my wife loves Vanderpump Rules, and there's a lot of love, heartbreak stuff in that whole series. Shout out to my wife. She, I wouldn't know any of this stuff without her, but it just blows my mind as I see all of that with everything else that I look at. But yeah, I mean, Betty, you're absolutely right. I mean, Megan Thee Stallion, I mean, she pretty much represents everything that I would never get behind. And here you go, Megan Thee Stallion, the horse, now with Clay Thompson playing for the Mavericks, the horse, in Dallas Love Field, and Megan Thee Stallion was in Love Island, USA. See what I'm saying? I feel like I'm kind of annoying sometimes, so I apologize. But to me, it's just freaking mind-blowing because a lot of what I'm sharing really does tie into my personal life and just kind of my journey with truth. So the last thing I will say is thinking more about basketball, what I've always been into. I've been thinking about the fist and the heart and all that stuff. I was also thinking about, people pumping their chests or slapping their chests. They're always slapping the heart, or they're putting their hand over their heart before every basketball game, right? Pledge of allegiance to the flag. It's a whole other thing. But think about this. So we're also in the time of LeBron James and him playing alongside his son, Bronny, right? Think about that father-son love going on. But look at this, you guys. I'll leave it here with kind of a very funny symbolism, and I'll kind of leave it to you guys to really fill in the dots for me. But of course, Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, he had a cardiac arrest when he was at USC, and he was shit, by the way. And now all of a sudden, he's playing a lot better out of the freaking blue. But the Trojan. Do you guys see what I mean? Do you guys see what I mean? About making love. I mean, just my opinion. If you're having sexual relations with a Trojan, you're not really making love because, a number of things. But I thought that would be a great ending with this. I am coming up on a minute or two over. Because I love my wife and she was kind enough to grant me this time to put this out to everybody. So I'm going to wrap this up very quickly. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in once again to another episode on my channel. It means the world to me, you guys. I love seeing everybody jump in the chat, add their contributions. Maggie says, AJ, the Love Boat aired 9/24. 1977. Of course, 77. I mean, that's a big Dallas number. There's a reason why Dallas is spelled with 2 L's. The upside down 77. 17,471 days ago, the 2009 prime. Whoa, okay. Good connections. Earl says, thank you. Okay, I mean, at least someone is seeing it. Honestly, if you guys think I'm stretching or it's a reach, I don't really care, but you guys are more than welcome to share that in the comments as well. God bless to your sweet wife. She is the freaking best. She is. I love her so much. And I love all of you. Yeah, Coffee Girl, great breakdown of the symbolism. Yeah, you guys just start thinking about that. Like the whole connection with Baal. I mean, I don't get that many people coming at me about why did you choose Baal? The Baal deity is evil, blah, blah, blah. And like there is a yin and yang to everything. But I do understand that there's a lot of people that just don't understand where that phrase comes from. And hopefully this video added a bit more context to understanding what it actually means and what my page is all about. So shout out Maggie, Coffee Girl, all of you guys, seriously. Earl, Betty, I've seen Betty a lot in the chat. You guys mean so much to me. It means the world to me. I love you all. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe and the share on the way out, wherever you see fit, or even just, take a couple tidbits and share it with your friends or your family. I don't think it's a coincidence that Clay goes to Dallas and now all of a sudden he's in love with Megan the Stallion, the horse. So I would almost challenge all of you, as I will challenge myself, what else does the horse have to do with Clay and Dallas and all that? Because, well, you got the Cowboys, etc. But yeah, you guys, God is love. I'm all about leaning into love rather than our inherent nature at times, because of the world we live in, to steer away from that. So Love Boat. Oh man. Yeah, Gigi, thank you. Maggie, thank you for bringing up Love Boat, because that has that love and water connections right freaking there in front of your face. So thank you all. I sound like a broken record at this point. So I love you all. Make sure to hit that like and sub. Share where you see fit. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.